the guest is always right. If he calls you an asshole, then you're an asshole.
Weren't you in a movie with Fay Ray? I don't suppose you'd like to go to the movies tonight.
Fuck off.
Well, I guess a blowjob would really be out of the question then.
I'm not stupid. I know why I'm overweight. It's anxiety. As a future physicist, I'm on a collision course with destiny.
This is why I'm in Hollywood. Yeah, get your cereal, kids. Did she say nice things about me? Because I will tase her if necessary.
Uh-oh.
I have the taser. We haven't had to use it in a long time.
Yes, I'm the executive producer and the head writer.
You actually wrote the words we're saying to each other right now?
Yes, I wrote this whole conversation that we're having right now.
Hey, it's Boogie. I played T-Bo on Nickelodeon's iCarly. I got a chance to watch the Quiet on Set program, and I reached out to Dan to see if it was something that he'd be willing to discuss. I'm pleased to say that he said yes. Dan, how are you?
I'm okay.
So I just watched a Dan Schneider interview and / apology. And I just want to say, what a shit apology, dude. What a shit apology. Horrible. Dan Schneider is basically a creator of these like well-known shows that a lot of, people watch when they're younger, such as iCarly, Victorious, Sam and Cat. And since Dan Schneider is such a big creator of these shows, I'm pretty sure you guys have seen an episode or know about these shows. There's for sure going to be a spotlight on Dan Schneider and the weird shit that went on throughout the years of him producing these shows.
I come to the conclusion that what you can say is, what can't you say? I mean, honest to God, I could go on and on about all the wonderful qualities about Miranda, but I know time permits, and I will consolidate it to just this one thing. In all the years I've known Miranda, I guess 9 years now, she hasn't changed. Miranda hasn't changed one bit. All those awesome qualities that she had when she was...
First of all, with the interview, you get nothing fucking answered from him. What the people really want to know is what's up with this foot fetish. He just did a lot of like episodes of popular shows, and he showcased like the young actors doing some weird foot things.
Quiet on Set also goes into Dan's disturbing and undeniable obsession with feet and how it's a part of Nickelodeon's branding at large, and how it goes beyond that. It's part of the identity. The very fibers of the being of Nickelodeon were warped around Dan Schneider's foot fetish. Feet were everywhere in Nickelodeon shows. There's a YouTube video called iCarly Feet Scenes. Like I mentioned, part of their brand. The logo was a foot. If you didn't remember, you fucking freaks. On top of this, Sam and Cat, a run by, I assume, Dan Schneider, asked for children to send them pictures of their feet. Wow. What a fucking freak. There's this funny little Victorious post on Facebook and another tweet by Dan Schneider himself. Little Ariana Grande from Victorious smiles at one of her co-stars' feet. But whose foot is it? I don't know, you mother.
It's really prevalent in a lot of the episodes. You could tell that Dan Schneider has a foot fetish, but it's also the things that went down throughout the whole set of these young actors and the things that revolved around them, because it was more than just, Dan Schneider showcasing like feet for kids. It was more so in the background of what these actors went through.
I worked with an incredibly emotionally abusive producer.
I did not feel safe around Dan Schneider while I was working at Nickelodeon.
Basically, Dan Schneider wanted to come out and speak on the fact of his past because of Quiet on the Set. It's basically a new series that's showcasing on Max, I'm pretty sure. It's showcasing the bad shit that the industry has done to young actors. One of the most shocking things that came out from the Quiet on the Set is basically Drake coming out and, confessing that he had a bad experience on set with someone that was kind of grooming him.
I addressed my statement to everyone in the room. I looked at all of them and I just said, "How dare you?" And I said, "You will forever have the memory of sitting in this courtroom and defending this person. And I will forever have the memory of the person you're defending violating me and doing unspeakable acts and crimes. And that's what I'll remember."
And what happened with this, it's really sad, dude, because the guy that assaulted Drake, his name is Brian Peck, I think. Is Brian Peck. I thought he was related to Josh Peck, but they are not related at all. And what Brian Peck did, he basically assaulted Drake. And when they went to court, he had like about 41 letters of like higher ups, executives, saying that like to lower his sentence or, you know, help him out in court.
And the most shocking, not shocking part of this episode were the unsealed letters on behalf of Brian, where they were essentially victim blaming Drake Bell for enticing him, and that's why he was sexually assaulted numerous times. It's fucking disgusting, and it highlights Hollywood elites covering for each other. It's nothing new, but my God, it's spelled out black and white for everybody to see.
And with that, that already showcased like how deplorable that industry is. Because first of all, in the interview, Dan Schneider said that he was there for Drake, and once he found out about that circumstance with Drake, he was so distraught about it. But it didn't really seem like it when there was like 41 executives on Brian's Peck side, and it didn't seem like you were on Drake's side at all. All you did was wrote a speech. You weren't really there and wrote a letter. I don't think that really helps Drake in any capacity. So what happened? Brian Peck actually went to prison, and he did a couple months of probation. And the most fucking crazy part, dude. This once I found this out, I was fucking baffled. So as soon as Brian Peck got out of prison, he was able to land a job working on the set of Sweet Life of Zack and Cody. He was working at Disney with more minors as a registered sex offender. Dude, that is insane that he was just able to land a job just like that. It just goes to show that the industry doesn't give a fuck about child actors. They don't give a fuck about people. It just shows that they only care about money, dude. It's so sad that people have trauma from this. And I read a comment about the situation saying they're over here making our lives better while their lives were going to shit, dealing with all that. So when I thought about that, I was like, wow, that is so sad. And I feel really bad for everyone that went through that, dude. It's deplorable, dude. It's so deplorable. Hey guys, this is me from the future. I just want to speak a little bit more on the info I got from Dan Schneider. I'm in the wrong. Dan Schneider did help Drake out. It seems like he was the only person that helped him out at the time when he was going through that court. But I think Dan Schneider still could have done something very helpful for Drake for this not to happen. He could probably fire Brian Peck. He probably could tell the executives what's going on. I mean, Drake could have went to Dan Schneider. He didn't go to him for a reason, maybe because he knew he wasn't going to help him. So and that's my conclusion with that. Like Drake said Dan Schneider helped him, but I don't think he actually helped him at all. Also with the Brian Peck situation, the other most fucking craziest thing that I found out yesterday was Brian Peck had an association with Wayne Gacy. Fucking Wayne Gacy, dude. A serial killer. He probably killed over 20 people in America. One of the worst serial killers. And he was lettering him. What the fuck?
So during a party at Brian Peck's house, one of the child actors wanders into his garage and finds a clown painting with a signature on the back. And we learned that Brian Peck was pen pals with John Wayne Gacy.
And on the back, it said, "To Brian, I hope you enjoy the painting. Best wishes, your friend, John Wayne Gacy."
And the parents were just like, oh, that's cool. Hello? As if that's just casual to be talking with one of the most infamous serial killers of all time who targeted children.
If that doesn't showcase that he's a bad person to be around or he should still be in prison, I don't know what does. It's fucking baffling. Dan also made the workers he worked with very uncomfortable, which is another thing they talked on the interview. And basically, Boogie brought up the massages. And Dan was saying, no, I shouldn't have done that. It was inappropriate. I shouldn't have made anyone feel uncomfortable in the workspace, especially if I'm the boss.
Let's talk about the massages.
Okay.
Watching the content yesterday, it was disturbing.
It was wrong. It was wrong that I ever put anybody in that position. It was the wrong thing to do. I'd never do it today. I'm embarrassed that I did it then. I apologize to anybody that I ever put in that situation. And even additionally, I apologize to the people who were walking around Video Village or wherever they happened, because there were lots of people there who witnessed it who also may have felt uncomfortable. So I owe them an apology as well.
Yeah.
But it was clear as day that he didn't give a fuck. He was asking almost every girl coworker he had to give him a massage.
DS was also exposed for requesting massages from adult female colleagues in 2000. This was thrown into a hostile workplace legal claim that same year, and that's how we figured out about it.
Not only that, Quiet on the Set really showcased that Dan had favoritism towards male workers compared to the female workers. So I actually found out he was dealing with sexism in the work environment. Basically, all the male writers were getting full pay, and then there's 2 female writers that are sharing one pay grade into one, which is insane. I don't know how you could live like that. It's clearly sexism.
I remember speaking to the line producer, and she said that I was going to have to split a salary with a writer that I did not know.
So they were getting 2 for the price of 1. They were going to hire 2 women and have them share a salary. And I never saw it happen to any of the men.
I was like, well, I'm excited. I get to stop temping.
This was my dream job. I mean, this is what I wanted. This is why I worked so hard for. I'm not about to turn it down. I thought to myself, don't be a complainer, you know, do whatever you have to do to get this job.
Another thing that they touched on in the interview is the inappropriate slime jokes.
Now, you've written hundreds of episodes. Thousands of jokes have been told.
Yeah.
But currently where we are, some people think that some of those jokes are inappropriate for children. What do you think of that?
All these jokes that you're speaking of, that the show covered over the past 2 nights, every one of those jokes was written for a kid audience because kids thought they were funny and only funny.
With the inappropriate slime jokes, it's really prevalent in a lot of Dan Schneider's shows. You could see them showcasing iCarly, Victorious. I'm not sure if Drake and Josh did that, but it's been a long time since I've seen Drake and Josh. Might be in there. There's for sure something fucking disgusting in there. But that's another thing they touched on in the interview, and basically Dan Schneider was just saying, if they don't like the jokes that was showcased for kids years ago, then just cut it. But that really doesn't change the fact that he still put it in and still showcase these inappropriate jokes to kids.
Now we have some adults looking back at them 20 years later through their lens, and they're looking at them and they're saying, oh, you know, I don't think that's appropriate for a kid's show. And I have no problem with that. If that's how anyone feels, let's cut those jokes out of the show, just like I would have done 20 years ago or 25 years ago. I cut it. I want my shows to be popular. I want everyone to like. The more people who like the shows, the happier I am.
Yeah.
So if there's anything in a show that needs to be cut because it's upsetting somebody, let's cut it.
So I think it's big for you to say, with your work, if it's viewed as that today, you don't have a problem.
Cut it. Cut it.
I mean, that's a solution.
The last thing I want to ever do is put any content in a show that's going to upset my audience and make them want to turn off the TV. Why would I ever want to do that?
That makes sense.
The interview is so contradictory. First of all, I'm really, disappointed that my boy Boogie is conducting this interview like this. He's glazing the fuck out of Dan Schneider, hoping to land another role in one of his, maybe in the future, so-called shows he's gonna work on.
They also highlighted 2 black actors who said that they felt overlooked. Now, I want to be clear. I'm never going to speak on anyone else's journey. Yeah, I can talk about my experience, how my experience was with you, what I saw prior to working with you. But again, I don't want to speak on anyone's journey. I saw you be honored for diversity in your work.
But it's so weird that Boogie was asking him these questions and not really going full thorough on these accusations and what the people want to hear. So that really, threw me off board. He was an awesome character in iCarly, and I fucked with him, dude. And it sucks. He was glazing the fuck out of Dan Schneider.
Well, regardless of what some people may think, I think it's only positive that you are there for people when they need you.
How the interview was conducted, basically Boogie was asking these open-ended questions where it was leading to Dan Schneider to answer in a way that it made him look good. And basically when Boogie was asking him questions like what's going on the set or like what led to people speculating these accusations about you, he was more so saying his character instead of the actions he was doing on set. Like he wished he was a better person and he treated these people better, but in actuality it was just a PR move, him to look better in the interview.
Was there specific things that you were doing?
Sure. I would snap at people sometimes. I would be snarky when I could have given them a nicer answer. I would not give people the time that they needed. I would be in too big a hurry to get on to the next thing I had to do. The main thing that I would change is how I treat people and everyone. I definitely at times didn't give people the best of me. I didn't show enough patience. I could be cocky and definitely overambitious, and sometimes just straight up rude and obnoxious, and I am so sorry that I ever was.
And he also tries to gain sympathy for the audience because he breaks down and it's an ungenuine cry. You could tell my boy was just acting. He was acting like he was on the set of like iCarly, dude.
I don't know if people know this, but Drake's mom, a lovely woman who I stay in contact with this day, she came to me at the time and she said, Dan, I'm not good with words like you are, and would you help me with my speech for the judge? And I said, of course, and I did.
Overall, I just think that he shouldn't be forgiven. He shouldn't even keep doing shows. Whatever he's going to work on in the future should be halted because he's a straight up creep.